Why have joke tellers throughout history endured the humiliation of bombing and the slings and arrows of hecklers? Hey, go home to your mother! Because pain is funny, and what doesn't kill you makes you even funnier. The greatest joke ever told has got to hurt.
Oh, I have a joke, a kid's joke. A little girl with curly red hair and pale skin and freckles goes to school, and then all the kids torture her. Oh, that's not really a joke. That was just my childhood.
Sir Walter Raleigh searched for El Dorado. Stanley looked for Dr. Livingston. And I'm hunting for the greatest joke ever told.
You know, Walter Lewis is searching for the greatest joke ever told.
Oh, yes, and thank goodness he has us on the show, because I'm sure he'll find it in a puppet act.
You've never heard an Oscar acceptance speech start with, "I'd like to thank my mother who beat me on a regular basis. Without her psychological torture, I would have been just a normal person." Past pain, present pain, or predicting future pain can all be used as a tool to build a great joke. It's why the death and taxes joke works. It hurts.
Yeah, I think one of the other criteria for becoming a good comedian is a gaping hole in your childhood of attention.
When I was the kid not picked for the team in school and all that stuff, I knew that that could either just shatter me or I could make it funny. And eventually, that's how those kids did accept me. But the point is, I make more money than any of them now.
The kids in junior high, 7th grade, were making fun of my mom, calling her fat. And I wound up crying. And I went home to my mom, and she said, go to school and make fun of me, because that will take the fun out of it for them. And so the next day I went to school, they started calling my mom fat again. So I said, yeah, right, she's a big fat and she does guys in bushes. And it worked. She was absolutely right. We became friends, and my mother's a
My grandmother wouldn't even give me a whole popsicle. That's how tight she was. Hey, come over here, cabrón. Can never do nothing in this house.
I think that I always had made fun of myself first because we had so little that it was easier to make fun of myself than to explain, you know, why I didn't have a jacket or why I didn't have a lunch or why I didn't have money when we went on a field trip.
You want a snow cone? Mira, you don't buy one. Hey, go to the freezer and get a fork and scrape the ice. And put some 7-Up. It's the same thing.
We also looked at various different theories of humour. This is Aristotle, 300 BC, fascinated by humour. He thought it was a bad thing, he was with Plato on this, that humour essentially was animalistic. He thought that we were laughing all the time at other people's misfortunes, and it was a loss of control. And so because of that, we should ban humour.
Aristotle said this?
Yeah, absolutely.
From his culture?
That's right.
Where they were like meeting in men's rooms?
And we had a lot of jokes that supported Aristotle's theory. So did you hear about the man who was very proud because he completed a jigsaw in 30 minutes, even though it said 5 to 6 years on the box?
It may have been funnier in Greek.
The person who's made to look stupid, if they're the more superior they are to start with, the bigger the fall, the bigger the laugh, which is why this is such a funny joke.
It's killing me. Literally killing me.
It's not cool being Asian. I hate to say it, if you're an Asian girl, you are sexy. You're an Asian guy, tech support. You know, people are sometimes like, oh, it's a brave occupation, it's courageous. No, being a firefighter is courageous. Being, you know, serving in the military, that's brave, you know. Going up at night and humiliating yourself for laughter at the end of the day roots down from some sense of insecurity you had in high school because you got some wedgies or you're half Asian, you had acne all over your face. In high school, all you want to do is be cool and be cool with the girls, and I was neither. I was a dork. My body was horrendous. I was 100 pounds wet. The only people that would be attracted to my body type when I was in high school, lonely German businessmen. How do you think I felt? I mean, that's what I went through, and that's why I started just kind of shooting the guns off, trying to draw some attention to myself to meet girls.
Can we do a close-up on those? How about that? Yeah, that's funny. That's all I got.
I think comedy is at its best when you have something painful and you poke a stick in it. I got in a cab recently, and the cab driver's like, "Oh, you pretty lady, you have husband?" I'm like, "No." When you're 40 and you're not married and you don't have kids, you're like, it's like a death sentence. Like, you're a dead woman walking. Like, people are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He's like, "Oh, you have a boyfriend?" I'm like, "No, no boyfriend, no husband." "Oh, why not? You pretty lady, I don't understand this." Well, I think I probably, you know, could have gotten married in my 20s, but then things, "Why don't you just drive the cab, Abdul?" And he's like, "I think I know why you're not married." I met a lady recently, and she said to me, "I feel so selfish. I would feel so selfish if I was 40 and didn't have children." And I was like, "Well, sometimes I feel that way, and then I wake up at noon and look at my nice and it feels so much better."
Here's one for the books. There was a time when royalty hired court jesters to be the ones who told them the truth. And they did this through jokes. And if they didn't like the jokes, well, it was off with their heads. Talk about dying.
Well, you know, most of my jokes come from my life. So, and this is a true story. My grandmother actually was born with 2 thumbs on one hand, which is disgusting. I mean, granted, she make a great pie crust, I'll give her that. Catholic Church had it for Ash Wednesday. She could do 2 people at a time. I took her to see a movie. She loved it. 2 thumbs up. Come on. It's TV friendly, people. You know somebody at the History Channel, "I like that joke. That's a good joke."
You've heard it said, it's funny because it's true. And while that may be true, it's not very funny. The heart of any great joke is truth.